On the day my billionaire husband announced our divorce, he also announced my replacement. He did it in front of 300 wedding guests while his new woman stood beside him wearing the diamond necklace I had bought him. Everyone expected me to cry, smiled, and asked his lawyer one question. "Did your client read the final page?" He laughed. "I don't need to. You really should. Because the final page said that every company he owned, every house in his name, if he publicly abandoned me, and the original owner wasn't my father. It was me. My husband, Adrian Vale, had just divorced the woman who secretly owned his entire empire." The ballroom went silent, stared at me. For what? I picked up my champagne. For finally giving me a reason to stop protecting you. 3 hours earlier, I had still believed my marriage could be saved. That was the embarrassing part. Called him arrogant. I told him he was under pressure. When his mother called me useless, I smiled. When his younger brother accused me of marrying Adrian for money, I said nothing. When Adrian came home at 2 in the morning smelling like another woman's perfume, I pretended not to notice. I kept thinking there was a reason. There was always a reason. That was what love did to people. It made obvious lies look complicated. Then, Adrian handed me divorce papers at our anniversary banquet. Not privately, not gently, in front of his entire family. His mother smiled like she had been waiting for this moment. His brother laughed. And the woman standing beside Adrian looked at me with the fake sympathy of someone who had already won. Her name was Celeste Morgan. Newspapers, Adrian's perfect match. She rested one hand on his arm. "I'm sorry, Nora." I looked at her. "Don't be." Her smile faded. Adrian stepped forward. "You knew this marriage wasn't working." I stared at him. "You stopped trying." He didn't answer. "Protect." I turned toward her. "So I'm the problem? You've never been suitable for this family?" That sentence hurt more than Adrian's divorce papers. Not because it was cruel, because it sounded familiar. My mother had once said almost the same thing, before she disappeared. I pushed the memory away. Tonight wasn't about my mother. Tonight was about leaving. I picked up the divorce papers. "Where do I sign?" Adrian's eyebrows rose. "You're not going to fight?" "No." "You don't want compensation?" "No." His mother laughed. "I knew she married for money." I smiled. "Keep it." Everyone stared. Adrian frowned. "What?" "I don't want your money. You're entitled to half." "I don't want half." "Then what do you want?" I looked directly at him. "My freedom." He laughed. For the first time that evening, he looked relieved. He thought he had won. That was when I saw the quid. Lawyer waiting near the ballroom entrance, my lawyer. Daniel Ross. He had worked for my family before I married Adrian. He walked toward us, carrying a thick black folder. I took the folder because I asked him to come. His mother stood. "What is that?" I opened it. "Your problem." Daniel placed a document on the table. Adrian glanced at it, then looked again. His face changed. "What is this?" I answered calmly. "The original ownership agreement for Vale Meridian Group." His brother laughed. "That's impossible." "Is." To Ted, Adrian picked up the document. His hands tightened. "Where did you get this?" "You signed it." "I never signed this." "You did." "When?" 4 years ago." He stared at me. I smiled. The week before our wedding, Adrian's face went pale. I remembered that week perfectly. Take over Vale Meridian after his father suffered a stroke. The family needed a clean transfer of ownership. Adrian had been 29, young, ambitious, desperate to prove himself. He had to marry me. Adrian thought the condition was a family tradition. It wasn't. It was a legal requirement. Because my mother had once owned the controlling shares, the marriage agreement had been designed to keep those shares protected. Adrian never knew. I did. Vanished. But she had also made me promise never to reveal the truth unless Adrian betrayed me publicly. I had thought that condition was ridiculous. Now I understood. I slid the document toward him. "Read the final paragraph." He did. His lips moved silently. "At me, no." I said nothing. His mother grabbed the paper. She read it. Her face became white. "What did you do?" I looked at her. "Nothing. You can't do this." "I already did." Adrian stared at me. "The controlling shares transfer back to Nora Hart upon termination of the marriage. Board reverts to the original trust." His brother stepped forward. "That's fake." Daniel smiled. "We have 3 independent notarizations." Nobody spoke. Adrian looked around the room. His perfect wedding anniversary had become a shareholder nightmare. Then his grandfather entered. The old man had been sitting quietly at the back of the ballroom. Everyone turned. He walked slowly toward us. Adrian whispered, "Grandfather?" The old man looked at me. Not Adrian. Me. "You finally stopped hiding." I felt my stomach tighten. "I'm sorry." His head, "You have nothing to apologize for." Adrian looked between us. "What is happening?" His grandfather sighed. "Your wife has been protecting this family for 4 years. Adrian froze. "From what?" The old man didn't answer. "Because I had discovered something only 2 weeks earlier. Someone inside Vale Meridian had been moving money through a private investment fund. Almost $2 billion had disappeared over 6 years, and the transfers were connected to one name, Adrian. Spent 2 weeks investigating him. I still didn't know whether he was guilty. But I knew one thing. Someone wanted me to believe he was. And that meant my divorce was not just a marriage problem, it was part of something bigger. I closed the folder. "I'm leaving." Wrist. "Nora." I looked down at his hand. He released me. "What do you want?" "Nothing. You can't just walk away. You just divorced me." "I didn't know about this. That sounds like a personal problem." His eyes hardened. "You're hiding something," I thought. That was the end of my marriage. I was wrong. It was the beginning of the war. The next morning, every business channel in the country carried the same headline: Vale Meridian CEO's divorce triggers ownership crisis. By 9 a.m., the company's stock had dropped 11%. By 10, 3 major investors demanded an emergency board meeting. By 11, Adrian's name was trending everywhere, and by noon, someone leaked a photograph of me leaving the hotel with Daniel. The caption said I had planned the divorce for months. It was a lie. Useful lie. People believed it. Adrian called me 17 times. I ignored every call. Then my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered. A man's voice said, "You should not have taken the shares. Who is this? You know exactly what you did." "No, you've been warned." "By whom?" Silence. Then he said, "Your mother." My blood went cold. "What did you say?" "She told you not to look for her." The call ended. I stared at the screen. My mother had disappeared 7 years ago. Everyone told me she was dead. There had been no body, no funeral. Found near a mountain road. I had spent years pretending I accepted it. But now someone had used her name. I called Daniel, find everything on my mother's disappearance. We already did. Not enough. Nora, find the original police file. There was a pause. Why? Someone just called. Me using her name. Daniel went silent. Then he said, "I'll start immediately." 2 hours later, he called again. "There's a problem." "What?" "The original file is missing." "Missing?" "Yes. From the police archive." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "The case number exists. But the physical file was created by a private security firm." "Which firm?" Daniel hesitated. "Vale Security." I felt cold. Didn't feel like a coincidence anymore. That evening, Adrian appeared outside my apartment. I opened the door, but didn't let him in. "What do you want?" "To explain." "Go ahead." He looked exhausted. "I didn't order the divorce announcement." I stared at him. "What?" "My mother did." "Your name?" "Was on the papers. I signed the papers exactly." "I was told you had already agreed." I laughed. "You didn't even ask me. I thought you wanted out. You thought wrong." He looked away. Then he said quietly, "I've been investigating the missing money." My heart skipped. "You knew?" "I suspected." "Since when?" 3 months. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because every time I got close to the accounts, someone erased the evidence." I studied him. Who? I don't know. Then why should I believe you? He reached into his coat. He handed me a small flash drive. Because this came from my father's. I didn't touch it. What is it? Your mother's financial records. I stared at him. How did you get them? I found them hidden inside a false wall. Why were they there? I don't know, Adrian. He looked at me. There is something strange about your mother. I almost laughed. My mother. Disappearing isn't strange enough? No, he lowered his voice. She had a business relationship with my grandfather. I know. No, Nora. He shook his head. You don't know? What? She wasn't his business partner. He paused. She was his equal. My breath caught. Vale Meridian together. That made no sense. My mother was an accountant. That's what everyone was told. I looked at the flash drive. What was she really? Adrian stared at me. The person who owned it first. I took the drive. Why are you telling me this now? Because someone tried to. Kill me yesterday. I froze. What? He pulled back his sleeve. There was a bandage around his forearm. Someone shot at my car. I looked at him. Why didn't you call the police? Because the bullet came from a police-issued weapon. My heart sank. He stepped closer. Nora, someone inside. The government is helping whoever stole the money. I looked at the hallway behind him. Come inside. It was the first time I had invited my ex-husband into my apartment. Neither of us mentioned that. We spent the next 3 hours examining the files. Encrypted. But one folder wasn't. It contained a list of companies. 27 names. Every company had one thing in common. They had all received money from Vale Meridian. Then the money disappeared. At the bottom was another list. Names. Judges. Politicians. Executives. Police officials. And one name I knew. Celeste Morgan. I stared at it. Your mistress. Adrian looked at the screen. His face changed. She isn't my mistress. I looked at him. Don't. I mean it. You divorced me for her. No. You stood beside her. Yes. You told me you loved her. Said that. I remembered the night. He had said, she understands me. Apparently that was enough. I turned back to the screen. Then what is Celeste doing here? Adrian didn't answer. My phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. Stop. Stood. Which foundation? I pointed at the screen. The Vale Family Foundation. Adrian's expression went blank. What? Why? He looked at me. My grandmother runs it. I frowned. You've never mentioned her. I haven't seen her in 15 years. Why? Because she was declared dead. I stared, not at him. Your family has a lot of dead people. He didn't smile. My grandmother disappeared the same year your mother did. The room went silent. 2 women, 2 disappearances, same year, same family, same company, and now their names were appearing in the same financial records. The next morning, I called a board meeting, not because I wanted control, because I needed answers. Every board member arrived. Adrian arrived too. His mother refused to attend. That was interesting. I walked into the boardroom. Mrs. Vale, with respect, you no longer have authority here. I placed the ownership agreement on the table. He stopped smiling. I believe I do. Another director spoke. The transfer is under dispute. Then dispute it. We will. Good. I sat down. Until the court decides, I'm still the controlling shareholder. A lawyer stood. You cannot remove Mr. Vale as CEO. I don't want to. Adrian looked at me. I continued. I want him investigated. The room exploded. $2 billion are missing. Silence. The money moved through companies controlled by this board. Nobody spoke. I looked at each director. One of you knows where it went. A director suddenly stood. This is absurd. Sit down. You can't threaten. I didn't threaten you. I smiled. Truth. He sat. Then the lights went out. The projector turned on by itself. A video appeared. My mother, she was sitting at a desk, alive, older, looking directly into the camera. Nora, if you're watching this, they have finally forced your hand. My heart stopped. The room became silent. Her voice continued, "Do not trust the board." The video glitched. "Do not trust Adrian." Adrian looked at me. Then my mother's expression changed. Most importantly, "Do not trust me." The screen went black. "There's been an explosion in the parking garage." Everyone rushed toward the windows. Smoke rose between the buildings. I looked at Adrian. He was already looking at me. "You think that was a warning?" "No." He shook his head. "I think someone just destroyed the evidence." We ran downstairs. My car was gone. So was Daniel's. And beside the elevator was a dead security guard. His hand was holding a photograph. I picked it up. It showed my mother. And behind her stood Adrian's grandfather. Immediately, "Adrian, except the photograph was dated 20 years ago. He was only 9. Impossible. Unless the date was wrong." I turned the photograph over. I looked at Adrian. "What does that mean?" He stared at the photograph. "I don't know." "You're lying." "No." He took the photograph. His hands were shaking. "I've never seen this." Before we could continue, a police officer approached. "Mrs. Vale." "Yes." "You need to come with us." "Why?" "Your name has appeared in connection with the missing funds." Adrian stepped between us. "She hasn't done anything." The officer looked at him. "Mr. Vale, we have evidence." "What evidence?" The officer pulled out a warrant. "Bank records showing Mrs. Vale transferred $400 million to an offshore account." The officer looked at me. "Then you'll have no problem explaining it." I looked at Adrian. He whispered, "Don't say anything." The handcuffs clicked around my wrists, and as the police led me away, I saw Celeste standing across the street. She was smiling, but when she saw me looking, I had her. Her smile disappeared. That was my first clue that she wasn't my enemy. She was afraid. At the station, the interrogation lasted 3 hours. The evidence was perfect. Too perfect. My signature, my account. My authorization code, transfer. Daniel arrived, with an emergency lawyer. He looked furious. "This is fabricated." The detective shrugged. "We have digital records." "Digital records can be altered." "Can you prove it?" Daniel didn't answer. "What?" "The transfer happened at 3:17 a.m. "Yes, I was asleep. That doesn't prove anything." "It does." I leaned forward. "Because my apartment has a biometric lock." The detective stared. "What does that have to do with it?" "My lock records every entry." Daniel smiled. "Get the footage." The detective made a call. 20 minutes later, he returned. His face was different. "What happened?" I asked. He didn't answer. Daniel stood. "They erased it." The detective looked at me. "Who? Someone with administrator access?" "To my building." "Yes," I smiled. "So someone inside your system is helping them." He didn't like that. Neither did I. Then Adrian walked into the interrogation room. He looked at me. "I know who framed you." I stood. "Who?" He put a folder on the table. "Celeste." My heart dropped. "Why?" "She has access to my executive system." "You said she wasn't your mistress." "She isn't." "What is she?" Adrian looked at me. "My father's illegitimate daughter." I stared at him. "What?" "She was raised outside the family." "Why?" Adrian hesitated. "Because her mother was your mother's closest friend." That sentence hit me. I looked at Daniel. He looked equally shocked. Adrian continued. "Celeste didn't steal the money. Then why frame me?" "She was trying to find it." "For whom?" He looked at the folder. "Your mother." The interrogation room became silent. She had trusted Celeste. That made no sense. Unless my mother knew something I didn't. I was released that evening. Outside the station, Celeste waited. She didn't smile. She walked toward me. "I didn't frame you." "I know." She stopped. "You do?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because whoever framed me wanted me to hate you." She looked relieved. Then she whispered, "Your mother is alive." "I know." Celeste's face changed. "You found her?" "No." "Then how?" I stepped closer. "Someone showed me a video." Celeste looked around. "Then they know you're looking?" "Who?" She shook her head. To talk to me. Yes. Then talk. She handed me a key. Your mother told me to give you this when Adrian divorced you. I stared at the key. What does it open? An office. Whose? She looked at Adrian. His. Adrian frowned. My office? No. Celeste looked at me. Your husband's original office. Adrian went still. My father? She nodded. Your father's office. I took the key. Why didn't she give it to me herself? Celeste whispered. Because she's hiding from someone. Who? Celeste looked terrified. The woman who owns the foundation. I frowned. My grandmother is dead. Adrian's grandmother. Celeste stared at him. Adrian doesn't have a living grandmother. I looked at both of them. Then who owns the foundation? Neither answered. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. A woman's voice whispered, Your husband is not the said man you think he is. I looked at Adrian. The voice continued, and neither are you. The call ended. That night we went to the abandoned Vale headquarters. The building had been closed for 15 years. The key opened the basement archive. My name on it. Nora Hart. I opened it. Birth certificate, school records, medical records, and a marriage certificate. But the marriage certificate wasn't mine. It showed me married to Adrian. The date was 12 years before we met. Took the document. His face went white. Nora. What? This signature is mine. I looked at him. You were 17. I know. Then how? He couldn't answer. We searched the box. There was another document, an adoption father. As my legal guardians, I stepped back. What the hell? Adrian looked equally stunned. Then we found a photograph. 2 children, a little boy, a little girl, holding hands. The boy was Adrian. The girl was me, except I had never met him as a child. I turned the photograph over. There was one sentence. We're raised together until the fire. Adrian stared at me. What fire? I whispered. I don't remember. Then something clicked inside my head. A smell, smoke, a red door, someone screaming. My mother's hand, a man's voice. Run. I grabbed my head. Adrian caught me. Nora. I pushed him away. I remember. What? The fire. I looked at him. You were there. He went pale. What happened? I don't know. I closed my eyes. Then another memory came. My mother shouting, Take Nora and run. A woman. Who? I don't know. The archive light suddenly turned on. Someone had entered. We heard footsteps. Adrian grabbed my hand. Back door, we ran. A gunshot shattered the glass behind us. Another. We reached the corridor. A man stepped into our path. He wore a black mask. Adrian attacked him. They crashed into a shelf. The exit. Then I saw something on the floor, a silver bracelet, my mother's bracelet. I picked it up. The masked man saw it. He stopped fighting Adrian. Give it to me. I froze. You know my mother. He didn't answer. Adrian hit him. The man fell. We escaped through the basement. Outside. Adrian looked at the bracelet. Where did you get that? He dropped it. Adrian studied it. That's not your mother's. I frowned. Yes, it is. No, he turned it over. There was a tiny engraving. A.B. Adrian Vale. I stared at him. That's your father's. He nodded. Mother took it from him. Why? He didn't answer. We returned to my apartment. Daniel was waiting. He had found something. Your mother owned a private company called North Star. I frowned. Never heard of it. Because it was dissolved before you were born. Who dissolved it? Father. I stared. My father? Daniel nodded. Then the company was transferred to Adrian's father. Adrian stepped forward. That's impossible. Daniel handed him the documents. Read them. Adrian did. Then he looked at me. This company owns the original Vale patents. I frowned. Patents? Everything. The original technology, the original contracts, the original intellectual property, the foundation of Vale Meridian. All of it had been transferred Decian. Wasn't his father, wasn't his grandfather, it was North Star, a company that technically still existed, and whose only surviving shareholder was me. I looked at Daniel. Can they take it? No. Why? Because the ownership documents are in your name. Adrian sat down, so the entire empire, I finished his sentence, was never yours. Looked at me. It was yours. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then Daniel's phone rang. He answered. His face changed. What? He listened, then slowly lowered the phone. What happened? He looked at me. The North Star headquarters has been found. Where? He swallowed. Under Vale. Tower. We went there before dawn. The hidden headquarters was beneath the building where Adrian worked every day. The entrance required my fingerprint. Inside was a massive underground control room, servers, documents, bank records. Red strings. At the center was one photograph. My mother, Adrian's father, Adrian's grandfather, Celeste's mother, and another woman, a woman I had never seen. Daniel stared. Who is she? Adrian whispered. My grandmother. I turned. You said she was dead. Photograph. Then why is she here? Adrian stepped closer. Under the photograph was a date. Tomorrow. I felt a chill. Someone had planned something, and it was happening tomorrow. Then a printer started running. Every major asset of Vale Meridian was scheduled to transfer to North Star. At midnight tomorrow. I looked at Adrian. What happens if it goes through? He swallowed. Everything. Then we stop it. He looked at me. How? I smiled. We take the company first. That was when the elevator opened. Adrian's mother stepped out. She wasn't alone. 5 armed men stood behind her. She looked at me. You really are your mother's daughter. I raised an eyebrow. You're late. She smiled. You still don't understand. The transfer isn't meant to give you the company. What is it meant to do? She looked at Adrian. To expose you. Adrian frowned. Me? She nodded. You were never supposed to be CEO. What? You were supposed to be the scapegoat. I stared at her. Whose scapegoat? She smiled. The people who built the empire. The lights suddenly went out. The armed men moved. Adrian grabbed my hand. We ran. A gunshot hit the server rack. Sparks exploded. Daniel shouted, "Move!" We escaped through a maintenance tunnel. Behind us, the servers began burning. Before we left, I grabbed one file. It contained a single page, a list of names. At the bottom was mine. Next to it were 2 words, final HIR. I didn't understand, not yet, but I knew someone had spent decades preparing for me. And whatever happened next was about ownership of an empire. The next morning, I walked into Vale Meridian's headquarters. Every camera turned toward me. The board was waiting. Adrian stood at the head of the room. His mother sat beside him. Celeste stood near the window. Documents on the table. I looked around. Let's begin. Let's begin. A director laughed. You have no authority. I smiled. Actually, I have all of it. I placed the original North Star certificate on the table. Then I placed the marriage agreement. Then the shareholder trust. Ownership records. Nobody spoke. Adrian's mother slowly stood. You don't know what you're doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. You'll destroy everything. No, I looked at Adrian. I'll finally find out who destroyed it first. The boardroom doors opened. We're federal investigators. Everyone started shouting. The lead investigator walked toward me. Nora Hart? Yes. We have a warrant for the arrest of several board members. Adrian's mother turned pale. For what? Financial fraud. She looked at me. You called them. Investigator shook his head. We received the evidence anonymously. I looked at Daniel. He shook his head. Not him. Celeste stepped forward. I sent it. Everyone turned. I've been collecting evidence for 5 years. Why? She looked at his mother. Because she killed my mother. Silence. Adrian's mother stepped backward. You don't know what you're saying. Celeste laughed. My mother found the accounts. She pointed at the woman. You silenced her. Adrian looked horrified. Mom! Investigators moved toward her. She suddenly smiled. It wasn't fear, it was confidence. You think you've won? I looked at her. No, she stared at me. Good. I stepped closer. 'Cause I know there are more people behind you. Her smile vanished. Who? I held up the final file. That's what I'm going to find out. She laughed. You still haven't figured out who your mother was working for. I froze. What? She didn't build North Star alone. I looked at her. Who helped her? She leaned close. Your father. My heart stopped. She whispered. And your father didn't disappear. I stared. At her? Where is he? She smiled. Ask Adrian. I turned. Adrian looked stunned. I don't know. His mother laughed. You do. He shook his head. No, you've seen him. When? Every day. Adrian went pale. I stared at him. What is she talking about? He looked at me. Then his eyes moved toward the solda. Outside stood an older man. Gray hair, a scar across his cheek. Adrian whispered. That man, I looked. The man turned. Our eyes met, and I knew him. Not from memory. Toward the door, I followed. But the man was already gone. Only an envelope remained. Inside was a handwritten note. Nora, you finally found me. Do not trust Adrian. Do not trust your mother. Did not belong to me. It belonged to the people who bought your life. I stared at the note. There was an account number, and beneath it, one sentence. The balance is $18.7. Enough to buy entire corporations. Enough to control governments. Enough to explain why people had disappeared. Then my phone rang, my father's number. I answered. His voice was quiet. You have 48 hours. For what? To decide whether you want the truth. What truth? The truth about why Adrian married you. Across the room, Adrian was standing alone. He looked just as frightened as I felt. My father continued, If you open the account, there is no going back. Where are you? Not far. Tell me. A pause. Then he said, Look behind you. I turned. The boardroom doors were open. There, alive. She looked at me, then at Adrian. Then she whispered, It's time. And for the first time since I had learned she was alive, I saw genuine fear in her eyes. Not fear for herself. Fear for me. She walked toward me. I need you to listen carefully. I waited. The divorce was supposed to happen. I frowned. What? She nodded. We needed Adrian away from you. Why? Because someone inside North Star discovered the truth. What truth? She looked at Adrian, then back at me. That he isn't the enemy. I looked at him. My mother continued. Hardened. For whom? She whispered. For the person who has been controlling both families. The lights flickered. The building shook. A massive explosion came from below. Everyone screamed. The floor trembled. My mother grabbed me. Behind us, the boardroom windows shattered. The building alarms screamed. Adrian grabbed Celeste. Daniel grabbed the evidence. I held my mother. We reached the roof. Smoke rose from the lower floors. Police surrounded the building. Helicopters circled overhead. Every screen on the rooftop suddenly turned on. A woman's face appeared. Older, elegant, calm. Adrian froze. My grandmother, the woman, smiled. He stepped forward. You're alive. She laughed. I never died. My mother whispered. She always was a liar. Directly at me. Nora, I stared at the screen. You know me. I've known you since the day you were born. Why? Because you were never meant to inherit North Star. I frowned. Then why am I the heir? She smiled. Because your father made a mistake. What mistake? He loved you. Black. Adrian looked at me. My mother looked terrified. Daniel whispered. What does that mean? I didn't know. Then the emergency phone rang. I answered. My father's voice said, You have 6 hours. Until what? Until she comes for you. Who? The woman on the screen. I looked at Adrian. Where are you? Somewhere she can't reach. Then help us. I can't. Why? Because I was the one who taught her everything. The call ended. I stood frozen. My father had trained the woman who was coming for me. My mother had hidden the truth. Adrian had been used as bait. And $18.7 billion were sitting in an account nobody was supposed to open. For the first time, I realized the divorce wasn't the beginning of the story. It was the trapdoor, and I had just fallen through it. 6 hours later, we hid inside an old North Star safe house. City outside was under lockdown. Vale Meridian stock had collapsed. The board had been arrested. Adrian's mother had disappeared. Celeste had vanished. Daniel was trying to secure the remaining evidence. And my mother sat across from me. I stared at her. No more lies. Nodded. Agreed. Who is Adrian's grandmother? Her name is Evelyn Vale. Why did she fake her death? To control the company from outside. Evelyn, who stole the money. Evelyn, who framed me. Evelyn, who ordered my mother's disappearance. My mother looked away. Evelyn, and my father? He made a deal with her. What deal? He gave her access to North Star. Why? To save you. I stared at her. That doesn't make sense. It will. She opened a small metal box. Inside was a photograph. Me as a child, Adrian beside me. Behind us, on the back was a date, the day of the fire. My mother pointed to the photograph. That night, Evelyn came for you. Why? Because North Star needed a successor. Why me? My mother looked into my eyes. Because your bloodline isn't what you think. I felt my stomach drop. What does that mean? Before she could answer, the safe house door opened. Adrian walked in. He looked at me. Your father called. What did he say? He found Evelyn. Where? Adrian handed me a photograph. A private island. Stood. We have to go. I looked at her. Why? Because she wants you to come. I shook my head. No. My mother stared. What? I spent my entire life reacting to other people's plans. I looked at Adrian. Not anymore. He nodded. I looked at Daniel. Get me every legal document connected to North Star. Then Celeste entered. Everyone turned. She was bruised. Her clothes were torn. But she was alive. I know where Evelyn is. I stared at her. Where? She put a small black card on the table. She's not on an island. Then where? Celeste looked at me. She owns the building we're standing in. The room went silent. I looked around. This safe house? Celeste nodded. It was never a safe house. My mother stepped backward. What? Celeste smiled bitterly. It was a cage. The lights turned red. Doors slammed shut. Emergency panel. Nothing. A voice came through the speakers. Evelyn, good. She sounded almost pleased. You finally understand. I looked at the ceiling. What do you want? Why? Because you have something that belongs to me. What? Your name. I frowned. My name? Yes. Turned on. A document appeared. My birth certificate. But the name on it wasn't Nora Hart. It was Nora Vale. Adrian stared. My mother closed her eyes. I couldn't breathe. Evelyn's voice continued, You lied. I stared at my mother. You lied to me. My mother began crying. I was trying to protect you. From what? From your family. My family? She nodded. Evelyn is not Adrian's grandmother. I stared. Then who is she? My mother whispered. She is yours. The room went completely silent. Smiled. My little girl, and suddenly every secret became even bigger. The empire, the money, the marriage, the divorce, the missing years, the fake deaths, the hidden company, none of it had been about Adrian. Truth that nobody had dared tell me, not yet, because the moment I learned who Evelyn really was, the entire war would change, and the war had not even reached its final battlefield.